Trouble in Gameland as Nintendo slashes its profits outlook. Marketwatch's Dan Gallagher joins us once again from San Francisco to give us the score. Dan, thanks for being there.
Good to be here.
So tell it, Nintendo, obviously that's Super Mario, not having a great time.
They're not. It's been a tough year for them. You know, they're trying to prepare for the launch of this Wii U console coming up next month, and what they've had so far, you know, the Wii has really come down in sales, and they launched this 3DS, this 3D handheld last year, and it just hasn't brought up the sales much either. So they really have to make this next console work, but I think they're in the midst of kind of reducing expectations for it.
Now, Dan, we've talked about games and gaming with you since the very beginning of Digits, and it's had a rough time throughout that period. Can we point to anything as why the gaming business is so tough? Is it things like Zynga, these social networks? Even they're having a hard time now.
Yes, I think Zynga's a good case in point that that video games remain a hit-driven business, and so they're having a rough time. And with Nintendo, we've seen the influx of social and mobile games come in and really crunch that business down, and they're trying to stay relevant in this new market.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough. Do you think it's because the economy is just weak, and this is video games that sometimes cost up to $60 can be a luxury for a lot of people?
It is, and you know, what's happening now is more people are actually playing games, but there's a lot more avenues to play games, you know, with smartphones, tablets, and social networks. So, I mean, that's one factor. I don't think gaming as a overall pastime has come down. What's happened is that there's just more options for it. For Nintendo, which is a company that's pretty much hinged on people buying a console and buying an expensive game disc, I think that market is starting to kind of fluctuate and move out of it, and they're having the biggest challenge with that.
Now, one thing I know about video games is that when you've sort of won the game, you got through all levels of it, you basically don't really like playing it anymore. Are games now getting so tricky and so challenging that you can just keep playing the same one for much, much longer?
You can play them for a lot longer, and part of that is because of online multiplayer game modes in which you can take a game like Call of Duty, which may be designed around 60 or 70 hours of playtime, but because you're playing it online with friends, it's a different game every time. So you can actually get hundreds and hundreds of hours off of it, and what that does is people tend to play those big blockbuster games a lot longer and not pick up the second-tier titles as much. So that's hurt a lot of sales for the publishers. You have a few very big hits and a lot of misses.
Okay. Well, obviously we wish them luck too. Thank you very much. Dan Gallagher with Marketwatch. More on that Nintendo story from Daisuke Wakabayashi on WSJ.com.